Oh, no. Well, it looks like AC Slater says that Dazn was reportedly not happy that Ryan Garcia pulled out of the Javier Fortuna fight, and they did question the legitimacy of this act. We are going to talk about that and more in this video.
It was the story of that particular day before the fights actually began. Ryan Garcia was scheduled to fight Javier Fortuna July 9th, but then he sent out a message, and let me read this from his Instagram. I know this news may be disappointing to some of my fans, but I am announcing today that I am withdrawing from my July 9th fight. At this time, it is important to manage my health and well-being. I've decided to take some time off to focus on becoming a stronger version of myself. Your thoughts?
Big groan,
Okay,
man.
Mario. Let it go.
Look, you know what's just is it me or and maybe I wasn't paying attention or
It's not you.
all right.
not you.
No, but like, I know we're a little older, but I never heard of like quote mental health issues until like recently, right? When we were growing up, did you ever hear that phrase?
No,
I'm not trying to be funny. Did you ever hear that when we were growing up?
It's called "I had a bad day. I got to move on." Honestly,
No, right.
It's not making it right, but that's what it was.
Because to me, back in the day, when someone used mental health, and that you were either like schizophrenic or bipolar,
It was like a serious condition.
serious condition. Now, just because you're in a bad mood, or what is it?
I'm sad.
There's nothing. Look, I personally think that he's sort of a victim of his own doing with social media. And when you put so much of yourself out there, you're going to get a lot in return, and a lot of it negative, unfortunately. How you deal with it, how you handle it is going to determine a lot and show your strength or lack thereof as far as character. And when you're fighting and it's an individual sport and you're vulnerable in there and it's just as much psychological as it is physical, you got to have your act together and you got to be tough. And I mean mentally tough. I don't know if he, and with the outside drama and the baby mamas and all that, maybe it did catch up with him and he's like has a little bit of a nervous breakdown. I don't know if that's quote a mental health issue. I just think that, you know what? That's a lot on your plate. For example, and I'm not comparing him, but who he wanted to fight coincidentally, Manny Pacquiao. That dude thrives on having a lot on his plate. He takes care of like 20 people at the same time. He's a senator in his homeland. He also is putting out albums, doing movies. He's like doing all these different, and yet still trains and he runs a basketball league. He was in a basketball league. I mean, that guy multitasks more. If anyone would have a quote mental health breakdown or whatever, you would figure it'd be a guy like him. But he's handling so much. So it really is about the individual, whatever the case may be. Who knows what he's really dealing with. He did put Golden Boy in a bad situation because Dazn is not happy. They were questioning the legitimacy of it. But look, you can't force someone to do something they don't want to do, and they're not feeling up to it. They had the bank. The LAFC where they played the soccer stadium, which is a beautiful stadium. I believe they've had one fight there before. They had him lined up to fight there, and
I had a story about that.
yeah, in the last 11th hour, Ryan decided he didn't want to fight there because he didn't want to fight outside.
Never mind that he did it 2 years ago against Jason Velez.
Well, he felt he didn't perform well against Jason Velez, and so
that damn son.
I mean,
Wind.
yeah. So you have an opportunity here to fight in a stadium that's going to be packed, a real marquee venue and an event that will showcase you, and you continue to build your star, and then you say no, and so they put him in a monkey wrench there. By the way, he doesn't technically, contractually, because I asked, does he have a say of where he fights? No, Golden Boy said, hey, that's where you want to fight, that's where you're going to fight.
What I was told was they had a gentleman's agreement, even though it's per contract, Golden Boy's discretion, that they told Golden Boy, if you pay us what we want and we come to an agreement, you guys can choose the venue. He backed out of it. Now, talk about Pacquiao and the plates. He had more plates than Hometown Buffet at 6 o'clock.
Exactly.
Okay.
That's my point. That's my point. And you look at,
Oh, so Frazier likes that one. Okay, I was bound to hit one. But anyway,
I'm from the South.
You think of other young fighters like a Virgil Ortiz.
you mean Mr. Low Maintenance?
Low maintenance. The guy taught himself how to play the piano and the guitar. He's so impressive when he's posting his...
What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. Make sure you smash the like button. Also, subscribe to my channel for the latest and greatest in boxing. Listen, it takes money to make money. Let me get this out the way. If you're on YouTube, why are you on here? As a creator, I'm talking. if you don't want to make money, if you don't want your content to be found by others, consider TubeBuddy. Use my link in the description. I've personally been using TubeBuddy for years, and it's a great resource and browser extension to help you level up your YouTube content, optimize your videos. I've been using it successfully, and it has a lot of features, a great program, and consider that. Use my link in the description. Now, you guys heard the clip. That was Steve Kim and AC Slater, aka Mario Lopez. They have a podcast. Link will be in the description. You guys can listen to it in its entirety, verbatim. It's the 3 knockdown rule. And I mean, what is boxing coming to? Where, you know, someone like me and me and Steve Kim agree 100% on this Ryan Garcia thing. 2021 is wild, y'all. So I agree with a lot of what was said. I didn't listen to the whole entire podcast, but I did hear the part that you guys heard as well. Link in the description. And I agree with that. I think Mario Lopez, he had a great point, which is exactly what I said. Ego Stradamus strikes again. Listen, and the funny thing is, me being on this YouTube platform, I say it usually before anybody because I have a home studio. So I have multiple microphones. I could just get up. I don't wait for a podcast or a certain time for like a podcast to run. I give you guys content on the fly, on the go, whenever it comes about. But what I said, and what subsequently Mario Lopez is also saying regarding Ryan, is he's kind of the victim of his own doing, like in the sense of part of how he was built up was the Instagram and stuff like that, and how like they didn't stop telling you how many Instagram and social media followers he has. But as I've said in past videos, having such a big fan base and a social following, TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, all of them, whatever, it's your page, but it's also almost a privilege, not a given right. It's kind of like driving. To drive, to be given a California driver's license, that's a privilege, not a right. Not everyone can drive. If your vision is bad and you don't wear prescription glasses, or you can't see, or they deem you have a real bad seizures or epileptic or something, you might not be able to drive. So it is absolutely a privilege, not a right. So to have a social media that people, you have a responsibility and a duty, so you have to kind of keep up with that, especially if you have a certain personality type to the point where you would bail out of a fight for mental health, you know what I mean? And say, I've never heard that in the sport of boxing. Somebody said they're not able to fight a fight they announced a week before because they're mentally unfit. You know, this needs to be further looked in. I don't see how Ryan Garcia is able to keep his belt whilst dealing with personal problems. Like, so let's say I'm a boxer and I sign on to fight George Foreman, right? And I tell people I have an alcohol and gambling problem, alcohol abuse, substance abuse, and I'm going to the Betty Ford clinic. Now, people will feel sorry for me and, feel sympathetic for me and say, hey, get better, ego. Some people might rejoice in that type of downfall. But no one's saying not to get clean or to get clear of mind and clear-headed and find that zen, you know what I mean? But the world still goes on. I don't see how a fighter would be able to say, hey, I have an alcohol and gambling problem, so I'm going to take care of that whilst not fulfilling my professional duties and hold my ranking, hold my WBC interim belt, etc. But for whatever reason, the WBC is kind of captain Ryan Garcia, and they're going along with it and making him sound courageous and heroic because he's unable to fulfill his duties. Then days later, videos leak of Ryan Garcia, and he's in Hawaii with his girl, and he's like, Chihuahua, and it looks like he's regular. So, Ryan is kind of the victim of his own doing in this, because at the end of the day, this is what you're putting out. You said you were fighting Gervonta, you said you were fighting Pacquiao, you said you were willing to fight Devin, and all those things changed. Then you said you were going to fight Javier Fortuna, and you agreed, and now Mario Lopez is saying, and the reason why this is probably good information is because if I'm not mistaken, Mario Lopez has a partnership with Oscar De La Hoya on their own alcoholic beverage of tequila. So he's real good friends with Oscar De La Hoya. You'll see the two, like, you know, they were on the Triller telecast together and things like that. So at the end of the day, he probably gets reliable information, especially from a buddy, you know what I mean? Somebody who he does business with, like Oscar De La Hoya. So he's saying that Dazn was angry and they're questioning the legitimacy of it. Dazn put something out like, hey, if you're in need of help, and you know, they put like a PC post about it and didn't really speak on it publicly. But this is all in all not a good thing. And more information came out on this podcast where they were saying that they were going to do I forgot the name of it. I think it's the LA Bank Arena. It's a very nice venue though. They just like opened up. It's a stadium, and Ryan chooses to sign up for this. And according to this podcast, they're saying Ryan doesn't have the power or privilege in his career yet to veto the location. But for whatever reason, he didn't like the location because he fought at the StubHub against Jason Velez, and he don't feel that he performed adequately. So, you know, it's just a weird situation. I would never mock anybody mental health awareness or whatever, but just kind of like they're saying on the podcast, there's no real receipts. Like, so if you have mental health issues, you know, to the point where you can't do your professional duties. Like, just imagine if I worked at a bank and I say I can't come to work for the rest of the week because I'm going through a lot. I would be fired, you know? And if I wasn't, then I would probably have to show some type of receipt or proof that this is a actual clinical diagnosis. I've been to a therapist. Like, how can you just self-diagnose yourself? You see what I'm saying? You know, what show a post-dated visit where a therapist says you're 5150, or hey, you shouldn't be boxing. Or, you know, boxing, they do brain scans and medical exams. What medical exam did Ryan, because like if you look at a brain scan and things like that, you won't be able to fight if you can't pass that. You know, and I know people who've been a victim of that. You know what I mean? They weren't able to fight because of the brain activity looked sketch. Like there was, you know, early signs, CTE or whatever the situation is. So it's like, what receipts does Ryan Garcia have that the Javier Fortuna fight can't happen? And being a young man and what the streets are talking about and the rumors, I don't care. Personal life is personal life, but people are saying it's over a girl and cheating and baby mama drama. Like, boxing is a grueling sport. You got to be really equipped to deal with this. And again, as I mentioned, trash talking and mental health withdrawals from fights, it's not really synonymous. Like, the same person that told us a month ago they were going to knock out a tough Baltimore kid with crazy power, southpaw, in Gervonta in 2 rounds is the one pulling out of a Javier Fortuna fight, a non-champion, a good fighter, rugged fighter, but pulling out of a fight saying, hey, I'm not equipped to deal with this. It just, the optics don't really look right. So I do agree with the podcast, what they're saying. Let me know what you guys think. Also consider ESPN Plus and TUBEBUDDY. This is just a bad look. As I've said, I created it. The Dazn, I didn't create it, but I diagnosed it. The Dazn curse strikes again. They had it all set up. Fans were rejoicing and looking and waiting and eager to see Ryan's fight. According to this podcast, it was going to be in a great outdoor venue, and Golden Boy was on board with it. That's what it sounds like. But Ryan pulls out, and as Mario Lopez says, you can't make somebody fight if they have, you know, a reason not to. Crazy. Drop your thoughts in the comment section. Let me know what you guys think of this news. We working. Are you tired of your YouTube videos not getting any views? Well, consider TUBEBUDDY. I've used TUBEBUDDY for years to scale up my YouTube channel. Now we're sitting over 200,000 subscribers. TUBEBUDDY is a browser extension that offers a ton of built-in productivity and time-saving services to take your channel to the next level. Use my link in the description to get started with TUBEBUDDY and level up your channel faster. We working.